As if the incredible control you have over the sounds you create with the OB-6 weren't enough, we also have the effects section to add to your sound. Now, I'm a guy, I love analog synths, and usually I sort of avoid effects because I want my analog synths to sound very, very analog. But what DSI and Tom Oberheim have done, they've basically tempted you by giving you some really great digital effects. Now, I know you're like, wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be analog signal path? And it is analog signal path, actually all the way to the end. The effects are generated digitally, converted back to analog, and then mixed into the output sound with the mix knob. So yeah, even though there's a little digital sidetrack, it still comes back into the analog realm before coming out. So yeah, it's just, they've really thought it out. Now, a lot of these effects are similar to the effects on the Prophet 6, but there are a few new surprises. But, I thought we'd just go through them anyway. You access the effects by turning the on-off button on. Okay, here's the sound we're going to use. Kind of an Oberheim-y sound, come on. Now, I want you to keep in mind as I'm going through these effects, I'm just using the same sound for all of the effects. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to portray what the effects sound like. Trying to portray the infinite variety of possible sounds with each effect would take forever. So it's better for me just to show you what this effect generally does so you can think about how you're going to apply that to the sounds that you create. Okay, I currently have both effects off. Now, I'm going to start out with this so I don't forget, and I don't know how I could forget because it's the effect I use the most. If you hold down the effect button, you get this. DST stands for distortion, and you control the amount of that with the mix knob. So if you want a really distorted sound, you have analog distortion at your fingertips. Woo, that's loud. And you just control the volume of that by holding down the effect button. It's easy. But we're going to turn that off for now and focus on the other effects. But yeah, I often will turn the distortion on at about 10 because it adds just enough distortion to sort of emulate the sort of distorted sounds of vintage synthesizers. So I'll often do that on just about every sound I make, add a little bit of that rich analog distortion to give it a fat, warm sound. Okay, but let's turn it off for now because we're looking at all the effects and we don't want to just, flavor your perception. Okay, so the first effect we have is BBD, which stands for Bucket Brigade. And this is an emulation of the vintage Bucket Brigade delays where along with the delay, you would also get a sort of decrease in the quality of the sound as the delay happened. So let's have a listen. Right now we have everything set to 0. So knob number 1 is going to be your time. So it's quite a serious delay there. And your second knob is going to be your feedback. So you can hear the high frequencies going away as the delay continues. And that's the Bucket Brigade effect. And that is how that works. And of course, we have the click sync button. When you turn that on, your time becomes aligned with specific settings, note settings, so that you can synchronize your delays with the arpeggiator, with the sequencer, etc., using the clock section. So you have that possibility if you'd like to have your delay sequenced timing-wise perfectly with your sequencer and whatever. We also have a digital delay, which is just a straightforward digital delay, except for it doesn't have the Bucket Brigade effect occurring. Okay. And of course, we still have function number 1 is still time, and function number 2 is still feedback. We have chorus. Whoa, let's back that off a little bit. On chorus, number 1 is rate, and number 2 is depth. So you know what I hate about chorus is that everything, especially synthesizers with rich sounds, the minute you put chorus on it, it's like, ooh, that's pretty, you know? And it's not really fair. It's like analog cheating, really. If you add this chorus to it, it's just suddenly big and stereo and gorgeous and rich. And that's usually what I'm trying to do with the functionality present on the synthesizer, which is possible. But chorus is like it's cheating. But listen to this. Okay, without chorus. With chorus. It's hard to resist that, you know, but you have an analog synthesizer. You should enjoy what the analog synthesizer does, but man, that chorus. So you have the ability to, of course, affect the rate of the chorusing. And the depth. That sounds too good. It's cheating. Okay, next effect, we'll get right past chorus. Shame on you, chorus. We have a phaser. It's phaser 1. It's a 6-stage high resonance phaser. We have the depth all the way up here, so it's going to be pretty serious. That's really fun. And of course, you can turn up the rate. Pretty serious chorus we have going on there. And it has that high resonance chorus effect sound. Phase 2 is also a phaser, but it has a lower resonance. So you can get more subtle sorts of effects. And then we get to phase 3, phaser 3, phase shifter 3, my favorite. And it's because this is a faithful emulation of Tom Oberheim's phase shifter design. Tom got into the whole business designing these effects early on. And yeah, this is my favorite one. It just has, I hate to say it, it has this vintage tone to it. Listen. Let's turn up the depth there. It's like as overt as Phase Shifter 1, but with the tasteful subtlety of Phase Shifter 2, and then this just vintage deliciousness. And of course you can control the rate. Really delicious. I put that on almost everything. I can't help myself. It sounds so great.